In this video, I will talk about crisis management, risk and liability mitigation. Before getting on to the video, if you have still not subscribed to our channel, please subscribe. If you like this video, please press the like button and then share it to your friends. Crisis is something which will recurrently appear in any of the organization, whether it is in the form of corporate organizations or it might be non-corporate organizations, whether it is individuals or even in the animal kingdom, there is always lot of crisis. So how to resolve this particular crisis situation is there in the hands of person who is undergoing that particular crisis. So corporate crisis is becoming nowadays very recurring, as well as majority of the organizations are failing to overcome the crisis, and that is being the result of winding up or litigation. Cases are also becoming more. In spite of having lot of support and initiatives the government has taken, or even there are so many financial institutions coming forward, the institutional investors coming forward, and then after the enactment of the insolvency and bankruptcy code, you have the corporate insolvency resolution process also. Many of the organizations are failing because they have ended up in not managing the crisis situations well. So let us try to understand what are the various types of crisis a management may face. There are various types, it is not like a exhaustive one, like this is a indicative list. There are various other kinds of crisis also. The first one is resulting from the natural crisis. Natural is, it is from the environment. Even COVID-19, I can put it in the natural crisis, and we are facing the crisis situation right now. For that particular crisis situation to overcome, government has come out with lot of packages, company law settlement scheme, and then Atmanirbhar Bharat Yojana, like that there are various reliefs available. To what extent the company uses the opportunity is left to the choice of the board of directors. So to overcome crisis, who has to necessarily work on will be the management as well as the shareholders of the company. Generally shareholders will be not involved, but the board of directors, the persons who is having the substantial powers of the management of the company, they should necessarily look at this crisis management. Second one, it might be even the crisis may come up from the technological side also. There are various organizations which failed because they failed to upgrade to the latest technology. It might be Java motorbikes, which was based out of Mysore. They apparently failed because they did not upgrade it to the latest technology, but now latest Mahindra has taken it over and then they have come out with. But for that, how much years of time it took? Majority of the employees who were part of the Java industries, they suffered like a lot because they did not get any alternate employment. Like that, there are various stories in the India wherein technological upgradation plays a very important role. Technology related crisis, to overcome that, hard effort is required to be put from the organizational end. Confrontation is something very crucial. The internal disputes in the management of the company. The workers are not happy with the management is not cooperating with the workers. The internal disputes which will not take the organization at the right spirit. The organizational goals, they may not be in a position to achieve because of the internal disputes. This needs to be very well addressed. If that internal disputes, take for example the workmen or something like that who are not happy with the management, if they take the support from the the external people, in the sense like some political parties are involved, some local basically like underworld people are being involved, that will result in malevolence. That is one of the important serious situation where the organization already facing internal crisis, external people also will start coming and supporting it, and the crisis will grow to a bigger volume when compared to how it was earlier. Organizational misdeeds, because of the greed of certain people, misdeeds are very common in the organizations. Basically, few people will be always working towards the benefit of themselves. They will not be looking at stakeholders relationship, they will not be relating at the benefit of the others. So mismanagement and misdeeds of the organizations are also one of the important root cause for the crisis. And in addition to that, there might be some sort of a workplace violence also. This was very common, and nowadays because of the lot of policies which will be there, like even prevention of sexual harassment in workplace, posh the policy related to that, and then working women, and then the other basically with respect to the workers, how the decorum has to be maintained, how exactly the situation has to be improved, the HR policies. There are a lot of effort which is required to be made. Otherwise, within employees there will be lot of violence. That workplace violence is also one of the forms of crisis. Rumors. This is most important. We might feel this is very small, but rumors is something, if you look at in the Securities and Exchange Board of India, it might result in the crash of securities market itself. Because an insider providing a unpublished price sensitive information that will spread across the whole world in the form of rumor, and that will necessarily impact the securities market. And then if the securities market is impacted, definitely the financial management of the company will go for a toss, and that is a bigger crisis which is required to be faced by the organization. Of course, there are laws which prohibits the insiders, basically like with respect to coming out of some sort of a, publishing the price sensitive information. There are penal consequences they will face. But penal consequences living apart, but what damage it has created to the organization, that cannot be basically fixed if it is of a very magnificent nature. Bankruptcy. Bankruptcy is a situation where insolvency leads to bankruptcy. Insolvent situation is something where the company is not able to repay the liabilities, repay the debts, it is not having sufficient operational revenues, it is not having any sources of funds. So this is a situation also is one of the important crisis for which you have insolvency and bankruptcy code, where there is a possibility that the insolvency resolution process can be carried on and the bankruptcy position can be eliminated. But all these things are possible only when the management takes right steps at the right time. Coming to liability mitigation, that is another important. Risk management is part 1 in this particular chapter. Liability and risk mitigation is another important topic which is very, very important. Nowadays, it is very, very important to basically know there is one type of insurance policy which is available in the market, which is professional liability or indemnity insurance, and directors and officers liability policy, which is being offered by majority of the general insurance providers. Please note, even our Institute of Company Secretaries of India recently had signed an MOU with Punjab National Bank, and with Punjab National Bank they have issued a credit card to almost all the practicing professionals as well as who are in the employment credit card. Please note, along with the credit card, one of the important benefit is they have covered, they have given an insurance coverage for professional liability. Please note, I being a professional, for the defaults I am liable. Take for example, if the default is being committed because of my negligence, I will be falling under the category of officers who is in default as per the provisions of Companies Act 2013. An officer who is in default is liable to make the payment of penalty. I am a practicing company secretary. If I have done a wrong certification and then I was aware, and basically there are some instances where there is a sort of penalty like wrong issuance of a secretarial audit report, there is a huge penalty which is required to be paid. So to ensure that in future whatever liabilities as a professional I have to pay, as a director I have to pay, I can get that particular risk covered by way of obtaining the policy from the insurance companies. This is something which is new, which has come up, professional liability insurance or indemnity insurance and directors and officers policy. And as one of the important objective of risk and liability mitigation, this will be one of the important relief available. So crisis management as well as risk and liability mitigation is one of the important role the practicing company secretary has to play in his career. If you want to learn more about this particular course, please fill up the Google form which is being provided in the description box below. If you have any questions associated to this particular video, please comment. If you want to know more about the courses offered by Excel Academy, please visit our website www.excelacademy.com. Thank you.